Hey everybody, how's it going? You are here for the Canary Cried News Talk live stream pre-stream. Here we are, we're making it happen. I'm sending out the text message right now. There it goes. You should be getting that in your text message inbox momentarily, but only if you are a part of our text message alert system. If you want to get texts from me before every show, go ahead and text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. You'll get a little alert before every show so you never miss a show. And you can text me back, too, if you want. Say funny stuff. I can't then text you back, but it's just a fun way to give me something to look at in between shows. Other than that, remember you can leave us voicemails at canarycrynewstalk.com. Look for that green tab on the bottom of the right-hand side, and you can leave us 90-second voicemails. Ask us questions, give shout-outs, or give a little pre-show prayer if that's how you want to do it. Whatever the way may be, there's lots of ways to produce your favorite podcast. Let's see who we got. We got Ebony Blaze over on D Live, Nancy, Daniel, Dadalorian, G's, Cody, Jenny, One Lousy Petunia over on the YouTubes. No rumblers rumbling quite yet. I mean, they're there, but they're not talking. All right, well, we're going to get this show on the road, folks, so let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is September 15th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 667. And today, baby HOAXICAN alien. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomenon, a burrito of deceit.
Sure, why not?
I know it's not Tuesday, but
tacos of lies,
burritos of deceit,
enchilada of deception.
It's all there today.
Well, we got a good show today. You know, we realized, folks, today we were planning on dropping a Canary Cry radio episode, and at some point last night we realized that it's been such a weird week that we had not touched a single piece of news. And so the decision was made that we will do as close to a regular episode as we possibly can today, and then we'll drop the Burning Man episode next week. And hopefully we can end the week with a little bit of news, our bread and butter.
Yes.
So, Gonz, if you would do us the honor of playing that disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, and let me give you a rundown.
Oh, no, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Well, you knew it was going to happen, folks. We are starting out with the Mexican Congress and their display, their beautiful display of alien biologics, some alien bodies revealed in the Mexican government there. Lots of discussion. Is it real? Is it clay? Is it cake? I don't know. We'll be taking a look at that. And then, of course, Flippy has got quite the marketing stunt going on, putting a robotic dog inside of Gonza's studio to replace Cody, the world eater. Then we'll be checking in with some developments as far as the COVID rebound. Yes, COVID rebound, perhaps, and some shocking news from the New York Post regarding the CIA and their propagandistic tendencies. We will be checking in on Politico with their new and improved tips on how to wage war on conspiracy theories. And then the moment has come. Human trials of artificial wombs could begin soon. And then, of course, we'll be ending the show with an Antarctica update. So bring your parkas, everybody. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
It's all about them aliens.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified. Aliens.
Where are the aliens?
Who were made by the aliens.
Psyops.
So many things. We got an article here coming from the Telegraph, mirrored by MSN, in the headline: "It is extraordinary that Mexican Congress allowed itself to turn into a sideshow alien hustle."
Extraordinary. I think that's a good choice of words, because that could go both ways. You know, it could be extraordinarily sort of sad or extraordinarily exciting. It depends how you feel about first grade teachers' sort of Play-Doh sculpture of alien bodies.
Yeah, extraterrestrial and extraordinary. So, okay, it says here, Mexico shocked the world on Wednesday after wheeling out the desiccated bodies of two tiny aliens, in parentheses, at a congressional hearing. The strange little corpses lying serenely in satin-lined caskets were allegedly found in a Peruvian mine and date from 1,000 years ago. Jamie Maussan, the discredited ufologist who presented the bodies, showed x-rays that revealed a distinctively human anatomy, albeit with 3-fingered hands and a strange elongated skull. The specimens...
Just a few corrections there, Gons. The guy's name is Jaime, which
Jaime.
is
what
Jamie,
did I say, Jamie?
but in the Mexican thing. And it was human-like anatomy.
Human-like anatomy.
Yes. All right, continue.
The specimens, whose internal cavities also allegedly contains implants of rare metals and eggs, were shown as representatives held their first ever hearing on UFOs. The problem is the mummies, which were found in 2017, have already been convincingly debunked by scientists. In a 2021 documentary, Alexander Sokolov from the Scientists Against Myths YouTube vlog assembled a team of experts to examine the bone structure of the little aliens. They found that the bodies were made of a hodgepodge of human and animal bones. And the images are pretty hilarious. I need to step in and help out my son for a second.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's, so the claim, the debunk claim, first of all, I love how the debunking of an alien corpse showing up in the Mexican Congress has been debunked by a YouTube channel, Scientists Against Myths, not even a particularly creative name. But if it's, they didn't have any more like official debunkers. I mean, this is an interesting statement on sort of the role of YouTubers in the world. They are internationally, I guess maybe the Mexican Congress didn't have the kind of respect for the YouTube channel that perhaps other people did. That's why they went ahead and wheeled out the corpses anyways. Oh, he's still gone. Also, Now, here's the thing, folks. I'm sure you've all seen the bodies. This was a very important thing. I know it's so lame that we're a couple days late on this, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. You look at these things, it is a pretty much spitting image of a tiny little version of E.T. Things that, if you're in the UFO field or take interest in UFO stories or interview people or hear interviews from people, one notable thing is they never have noses, the aliens. They never have noses, and they rarely have mouths. And these little guys, they got very prominent eyebrow ridge line, kind of like E.T. does, and noses and mouths. Boom, debunked. I don't need scientists against myths to tell me so. Now, I am actually just as surprised to hear that these little guys are a mix of human and animal bones. I'm curious to know which ones were animal bones and which ones were human bones. The fact that there's any human bones at all in there is a little concerning, but okay. But you just look at these things. They look like a clay sculpture that is sort of crumbling, and not a sort of bored taxidermist's weekend project.
It's a mummy, okay? It's a mummy.
Well, what does that mean? Oh, because that explains the dry and crumbly bits?
Yeah. Or it's E.T. from Steven Spielberg's E.T., at the end of the movie when he's dying or something, he's in a bathtub and he's all white and pasty.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of what he looks like there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it says right here, one of the aliens dubbed Josephine. Hey, I like that name. That's a good name for an alien. Was found to have a femur or thigh bone where her upper arm bone or humerus should be. Although one of her thigh bones was actually a femur, it had been placed upside down. Oh my gosh, where it could not have aligned with the hip joint. The second thigh bone was a tibia from the lower part of the leg. Oh, too many human bones in these things, man. The experts concluded that the little creature could not have taken a single step with such an odd bone assembly.
They don't understand the anatomy of alien physics.
The fact that there's bones at all, I think, is a little bit of a clue in my book. We all know the Greys don't have bones; they have sort of inflatable tubes underneath their skin that give their body shape and form. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is obviously an extremely embarrassing moment for everybody involved. The individual who was sort of in charge of presenting them is sort of notorious in the ufology world as being a faker. He's tried to pull off many fakes before. And it's an interesting case. I think it reflects on the U.S.'s ufology congressional hearings, in that in our own hearings, we have a guy who's saying a different guy told him something.
Right.
There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah.
He will barely even give any information that he hasn't already put on YouTube or something, because he wants his private skiffs and stuff for his whistleblower protection. And really, to a real sort of UFO enthusiast or disclosure, whatever, enthusiast, it's not so much what is being said in the Congress that's sort of mind-blowing. It's the fact that it's there at all. And I could appreciate the governments of the world having meetings, televising congressional hearings, talking about UFO stuff, and we just need to take that as a win, because we know that the governments have no interest in telling the truth, maybe literally about anything. So we're not looking for sort of mind-bending revelations coming out of these things, but it is something that they're at least putting it on the schedule. And we need to just take that as a win, and we need to not push it on the hard evidence thing, okay? Because it's embarrassing. It gets embarrassing just like this. Not just because this one guy who I'm starting to think is, a sort of a shill put into the industry to discredit it, which I'm almost certainly I'm right about that. But as far as the spread of international interest in UFO disclosure, this was, well, I think the Telegraph said it right. A sort of circus, a sideshow alien hustle, which, look, I would pay a couple $100 pesos to stop on the side of the road on a road trip on the way down Baja to see these crafty little taxidermied mummies. Okay, I would do that. And maybe we just need to be happy with that. Maybe we can't expect such participation with the government, Cons.
Yeah, it says here, a closer examination of the skull also suggested that it had been created from the backside of a llama or alpaca skull.
The backside, like a butt?
Yeah.
Like the butt of a llama?
Quote, comparison shows that the reptiloid's cranial cavity fits perfectly the skull cavity of the llama, said Sokolov. Quote, the location of the olfactory, they get all into it, and the brain hemisphere and all that. Yeah,
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Debunked.
Debunked.
Okay,
sure.
we get it. Debunked.
Yeah, but I think, they mention a couple things here that are relevant in that, some historical hoaxes. They talk about the 1912 Charles Dawson, who claimed to have found the missing link between apes and man, which was dubbed Piltdown Man. I thought that was an interesting thing to bring up because, oftentimes the whole evolutionary theory kind of hinges on certain things, and there's always the missing link. Where's the fossil of the in-betweens? And, to make that seem like it existed, this Charles Dawson guy mixed a bunch of human skull fragments, and I think there was wasn't it a pig or something? There was a few others that
a pig's tooth or something.
So a kind of a similar methodology here to try to fit the narrative, and I feel like this is somewhat the same kind of thing. It's the same playbook of creating some kind of display and doing it at the right time too. Timing wise, it's fantastic because everyone's talking about UFOs. Everybody is, thinking that there's more to the government. The government's hiding things. It's not so much that, whether UFOs exist or not, it's more about or aliens specifically. And, but more so about how much does the government know? How much are they covering up? And so now that the heat is on a little bit, throw out one of the biggest, discredited, stories out there for everybody to see in this current ufology hype cycle or whatever, and make a meme out of it, make just a joke out of it, because the meme game was strong. The memes that came out of this thing were pretty great. The Biden one was fantastic. I saw it being shared everywhere. It's basically the crusty old alien, except, instead of the ET head, it's Joe. As a crusty old, dirt man.
It's one of these things where if you're, that is funny. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's hilarious. It's kind of funny because on one hand, it is sort of the secret hope of all UFO disclosure enthusiasts that some rogue nation will come out and tell the secrets that the U.S. government won't.
Not going to be Mexico, I'll tell you that.
It's I don't know what that is.
I root for them, but
But that's kind of like how you could imagine it happening. The U.S. kind of holding back, not really giving any good information or evidence, and then it's that rogue South American nation who's tired of covering things up for the imperial West,
right?
And just comes out and does exactly this thing, right? So it kind of fits into that storyline quite well.
Sure.
Well, what it does is it serves to legitimize the way that the U.S. is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. is getting a lot of guff for basically having a bunch of nothing burger hearings about UFOs.
You want a nothing burger hearing? Hold my coffee.
Right. Well, it's kind of like the opposite. Like, oh yeah, you want evidence? You want
Right.
biologics?
That's what I'm saying.
Fine. Here's Mexico.
Here's
How do you like
Mexico.
that?
Right. And
Be grateful. Be grateful we're even talking about it at all.
the timing couldn't be more perfect. We have this story from is it Science or Reuters? I think it might be Reuters here. NASA names chief of UFO research. Panel sees no alien evidence. And it says here, NASA on Thursday said it has named a new director of research into what the government calls, quote, unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP, while I thought it was aerial phenomenon.
Nope, they changed it.
They changed it again. When did they change it?
Yeah, because of the underwater thing. It used to be like the all domain.
Oh, that's right. The all domain.
They changed it a couple
that's right.
times,
The trans, what is it? The trans
medium.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
Yeah.
Keep up with all these changes. Administrator Bill Nelson made the announcement about the new research chief without disclosing the person's identity after the independent panel of experts because he's a lizard. He's an alien.
Secret UFO, man.
After the independent panel
maybe
of
it's
experts.
Jaime.
Maybe. Or maybe the return of Jack Parsons or something. He resurrected himself.
Why not?
The ritual worked or something,
Mummified Jack Parsons.
That was his little children that Jaime was trying to show everybody. After the independent panel of experts recommended in a new report that NASA increase its effort to gather information on UAP and play a larger role in helping the Pentagon detect them. So, trickle along, NASA trying to hold on to the NASA and the government really holding on to the narrative and holding on to the, the perceived beacon of the tip of the spear when it comes to actual factual UFO research and whatnot. So, and
the thing is timing. They're not going to show us anything real until they find a way to have it serve the powerful in one way or another, because that's one of the, unfortunately, sort of naive is not a nice word, but it's sort of one of the unfortunate naive things about anyone, including myself, who is just yearning for some actual substance come out of the U.S. UFO whatever industry or governmental whatever, is that, the disclosure will be made and it will serve the people in some way. And that's not going to happen. Disclosure will only be made when it is guaranteed that it only serves the powerful. It's just sort of the way things work around here. But
hey, Basil, when's your birthday? Is it coming up?
October, yeah.
Okay, so October, it's coming up. I think.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, we can have we need a special birthday cake. We just need to get our hands on, or we need to get in contact with Jaime, because apparently these aliens are actually just cake. I mean, there's footage here, there's proof.
This
there's
was
a guy
hilarious.
Cutting his face off, and boom, it's all cake inside. You got the chocolate frosting, you got the whole,
Whatever creator did this needs to be given $1 million. And for those who are just listening, the is it cake phenomenon from, 2014 or something. Somebody made a crusty looking copy of this mummified fake alien. And indeed, it is cake. Cuts it open and all the mysteries are revealed. I guess, honestly, if it were cake, that would have been better than what it was.
Jaime's, hey, everyone gets cake at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know, the person who made this, I just want to be in his mind or her mind when they saw the footage of Jaime presenting that alien and just knew exactly what recipes or whatever you need to make it look exactly like the actual alien laying in the box in the courtroom. That takes talent right there. Could
be us, Gons. Could be us. We're busy here spending a dozen hours a week reporting on news and transformative events and biblical prophecy when we could just become internet, cake influencers.
Something happens, we're just ready to go with the cake.
Yeah, make a cake about it all. Make a cake about, a helicopter Kobe crash. Make a cake about Fukushima. Make a cake. See, We could be living such peaceful lives.
I think there's a hidden message in the cake video here of the alien, because the slice of cake that gets cut is across the right eye of the alien, and you know, it's very Illuminatus.
Sure, yeah.
Eat the eye.
What if aliens just are cake? Maybe that's the thing we're missing here. Maybe this is the real alien. And this whole time, you know, we've thought that the grays are sort of biological suits that are inhabited by the wandering spirits of the Nephilim. But indeed, it's just cake.
Is this why they're, you know, they're letting obesity become a thing? Because they need people to eat all the aliens. They need really hungry people, or people with large appetites, to just eat all the aliens when the war breaks out.
It's what the robots will feed us when they take over. They will feed us aliens. You like your aliens now, human? Eat it, little piggy. Eat the slop. All right. Well, Gans, I hate to say it, but it is Friday.
It's Friday.
There you go. Keep playing with the Friday thing.
You're gonna learn today.
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit.
Are you not entertained? It's Friday. It's Friday.
Yep, we did it, and we're finally getting to some news this week, Gons. I don't have anything to say. Do you?
I like dancing aliens.
Yeah, you found some great gifs of dancing aliens for this episode. Excuse me.
Gotta do it. Yeah. Nothing too crazy other than we got some more bug bites on my body. When does it end? When does the bugs stop eating me? Please stop.
The horrors persist. Yeah. Okay, I will take the opportunity real quick to let everybody in on a little secret, and that is that the deadline for the third quarter Canary Cry supply drop came and went while I was at the Burning Man research facility, and we totally missed it. We forgot about it, and so we didn't tell anybody. Usually we give, you know, some last call type of announcements, and we didn't. So we're going to do that now. We are extending the Canary Cry supply drop sign up period to September 22nd. That is next Friday. Next Friday. And remember, we are still in the Canary Cry Babysitters Club promo era, which means anybody who signs up for the supply drop before the 22nd will be receiving the Canary Cry News Talk t-shirt, the Sir Darren Night of the Hungry Pandas t-shirt. It's beautiful. It's spectacular. It is the coolest thing on the planet. Just ask the aliens made of cake. But go to canarycrysupply.com, and if you don't know about it, it's just a program we have for people who want to produce the show through the value for value model. If you get any value, you can put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. But signing up to support the show in the amount of $33.33 a month, that's just $2.77 per episode. What a deal! And as a thank you, we will start sending you the Canary Cry supply drop every 3 months, once per quarter, which is chock-a-block full of cool random stuff that we make, that producers make. Of course, this year we are giving away the Age of Deceit DVDs. Next quarter will be Age of Deceit 2 on DVD, so get excited about that. We may throw in another exciting promo before the 22nd, but I can't announce it yet. But if you sign up before the announcement of that promo, you still will benefit from it. So don't wait. Just head on over to canarycrysupply.com. There you go. That's my big announcement. And I will mention this, just so everybody kind of understands we're as transparent as humanly possible around here. every month we do lose supply droppers, for whatever reason. People are, their financial situation changes, or we say something that offends them or something. People have to cancel for any reason, any number of reasons. So we've backed off on pushing stuff like that very hard. However, there is a point where we do need to push it, because we, at least even just to break even for that quarter, we need to push it to try to replace some of those drop-offs. So if you've been sitting there, you've been wondering, should you become a producer of your favorite podcast? Will it even help? Isn't even a big deal? It is very much a big deal. And we would love it if you go to canarycrysupply.com. Right now, it's the Babysitters Club promo, which means you'll receive a t-shirt, which would normally not be available to the Canary Cry Supply Droppers. But, Gons, this would be the moment in a regular episode, like we're trying so hard to do now, where we thanked executive producers.
Executive producers.
Yeah, you know it. You love it. It's the value for value system, folks, where you are the producers. We take no money from corporations, cartels, or commies. We are not supported by the system whatsoever, which is sort of a Wild West razzle-dazzle kind of way to live. But the Lord is good, and we have survived this long strictly because of the participation of you, dear listener, in the value for value model. So if you get any value from this show, put some value back in. It's a paradigm shift in the way that content can be created and sustained. And if you want to be part of it, just keep in mind, the show does not exist without the producers producing. And the supply drop is a great way to do that. But executive producers are people who come in and they support any individual episode with $100 or more. And that's why we thank them here at the top and give them the esteemed title of executive producer. And unfortunately, Gons had to stop someday. We no executive producers to report for this episode. I know. We can't be too sad. We had a nice run there. But you know what, folks? If you would like to become an executive producer of the show, this is real credits. You can put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your bios. If anybody asks, if you need a reference, go ahead and give them our email. We will vouch for you. Yeah, there you go. Go to canarycry.support, canarycry.support for more information.
Canarycry.support.
Now, Gons, I do not want to surprise you, okay? I know sometimes this can catch you off guard. It can be surprising. I understand. But I'm going to say it slowly and articulable. I would like to speak to the listeners about canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetup.
That's right, folks. The meetups, they're happening all over the place, and you can attend them. Go to canarycrymeetups.com and see if there's one happening near you. If there's not one going on near you, then you can put one on yourself. Some might even say you have the responsibility to put one on yourself. You must provide for the Canarians in your area. And indeed, if you are, within driving distance of a mid-sized metropolitan area in the U.S., there are plenty of Canarians in your area. And we have a new meetup today. Just to mention, Texans, listen up, Texans. We've got the Houston area Canary Cry Meetup on October 21st at 12 noon. Houston area.
Okay.
We got producers all over the world, all over the country, but Texas is still number one in Canary Cry listenership. So Houston area Canarians on October 21st at 12 noon. Let's see here. At Chewy's Kickerio Misher Preserve. What? I don't even... There's so many things going on here. I think there's multiple locations. I think that's what it is. It's at Chewy's, Kickerio Misher Preserve, Bolero, Lanier Theological Library, Scary Canary Pub.
Ooh.
Okay. I don't know if that's one really crazy business or separate locations, but this seems like a serious meetup, folks. So listen up, Texans. It looks like you're going to get some lunch, some park fellowship, some bowling. You're going to be going to a lecture by John Lennox.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Right?
Mm-hmm.
John Lennox.
He's a mathematician, philosopher who wrote about the future, transhumanism and all that. And he was one of the guys that I was really excited to see him talk about or write a whole book about technology and all that kind of stuff and how it affects the church, because nobody else was doing it. And what better than an actual mathematician and, Christian philosopher to do it. And I was really excited. I emailed him and I was like, hey, this is awesome. Would love to talk to you. Would love an interview and all this kind of stuff. And his people were like, yeah, sorry. He's not going to do your show. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, Gons, I don't want to brag, but I did have John Lennox on Ravel in 2022. June 12th of 2022.
Right. I was already jealous about this. I remember now.
I know. So if you don't know who John Lennox is, search for Ravel. It's the podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. Have not done it in quite some time. But the episodes are there. Look for the June 12th, 2022 episode, John Lennox in the Universe Next Door. Keep in mind, there was another podcast that stole the name Ravel. So just find the one that's mine. You'll see it. It's the good one. Listen to John Lennox, and then you can see him giving a lecture at the Houston area Canary Cry meetup, folks. This is very cool. And I had, here it is. This is being put on by producer Toph.
All right. Yeah.
Long-time producer Toph. And his email is here, toph.not.tough@gmail.com. And you can find that stuff. Find the contact, find the info over at canarycrimemeetups.com. We'll be putting all the information on Texas. There.
What's the date of it?
October 21st. October 21st at 12 noon. Here's the thing, folks. The hosts of these meetup, they put their contact information because they would prefer that you reach out to them before the day. It helps them plan. It helps them prepare. It just helps. So make sure to reach out, even if you have questions or whatever. This seems like this is a real Canary Cry hootenanny going on in Houston. So go to canarycrimemeetups.com and check it out. If you're too far away from Texas, maybe you're in Argentina, put one on yourself. Just send us an email with the time, the place, all that kind of good stuff, and we will tell the world.
This is fun!
All right. The website is updated.
Yep. There we go. Perfect. Yep. See, we got to do it right away. Yeah. All right. Well, Gons, unless you have anything else, I would suggest we check out our good buddy Flippy.
Flippy it is. Where are you, Flippy?
Do you want fries with that?
What? Okay, let's come on.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Don't shortchange us.
All right, folks, time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. Now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is a little bit different, but I think it opens up an interesting conversation. It's coming from Dexerto.com. Dexerto.com. The headline is AI robots from the creator spotted at Chargers game. Ooh. In a brilliant publicity stunt, AI robots from forthcoming sci-fi drama The Creator were spotted in the crowd at an LA Chargers game. It's been a big year for movie promotions at NFL games, don't care, and particularly those played by the Los Angeles Chargers and featuring AI creepy figures. In January, the field was filled with actors dressed as horror character Megan walking across the pitch in deeply creepy fashion, and now the robots are back, though this time they're in the crowd watching a game on behalf of a new movie called The Creator. A forthcoming sci-fi flick, The Creator, concerns a war between man and machine. And on
so
Sunday,
original.
Yeah. Well, it's about time we had a new man versus machine. We need a new movie about every 3 years, a real big blockbuster man versus machine blockbuster. And The Creator, if you haven't seen the trailer, looks pretty compelling. Let's see here. And on Sunday, AI from the movie were spotted in the crowd at a game between the LA Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. Chargers fan at Batoma15 spotted them sitting in the seats in front of him and took a photo, as posted by Discussing Film. He then took a picture of himself high-fiving the robots, which can be viewed by clicking on the tweet below. Don't care. And then it goes into discussing the film, which we may or may not want to do here. But this is, on one hand, this is a very clever publicity stunt. And for those who are just listening, go watch the Creator trailer, and you can kind of see what these robots look like. They're humans, obviously, because these are people, but they have sort of a robotic back of head and neck, but they are sort of meant to look more like an android cyborg type of being, or I don't know, walking toaster. And the Flippy update is not just about looking at cool new robots. It is about discussing the societal shift about how these robots are not just making their way into our homes, but into our hearts. And The Creator, the movie, promises to be one of those movies that convinces us that robots are people too. In a not so far off future where, AI is almost undiscernible from human personalities or intellect. The act of, now obviously these are actors, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to call them robots, to place these robots sort of surreptitiously into spaces, especially public spaces, and not presenting them.
Right. They're mingling within the crowd. Their hope and their plan was probably, they're going to take pictures. It's going to go viral. Like that was the hope, right?
I'm sure they had some plants in there to take pictures too, stuff like that. But yes, it was very much not, it's halftime. Let's wheel out these robots.
Here come the robots.
Look at the future, everybody. But it's this very subtle inserting robots into public spaces, not making a big deal about it. This, brings up a word from another sort of difficult time in American history, integration. Just sort of a subtle integration of these robots into public life. Now, I doubt anybody who saw them there at the football game thought they were real robots.
Yeah, there might have been a few initial reactions. The beer is flowing. You never know.
They're LA, fairly convincing. It's LA. They got all the professional and makeup people. These were fairly convincing robots. Considering that most of them is just a human, with the exception of one little part of their head. But it is this idea that these robots making their way into our public lives, not being presented as the next big economic engine, not being presented as what is the word? I don't know, putting them on a pedestal as the next great human achievement, things like this. But that's putting them into public life as if to say they belong here, and it's not a big deal. When you're a kid and you see, I don't know, a guy wearing a dress or a lady with a beard or something, the different, whatever. At least in my day, in the 90s, a child would point and say something, and your mother slaps your hand and says, "Don't point, it's rude," is kind of the feeling that I got from this particular publicity stunt or presentation, which is like, hey, There's robots. Look, they're watching a football game just like you and me, okay? We don't need to make a big deal about it. They're people too. And I'm convinced. I've totally changed my mind.
Oh, you saw this and you thought, okay, well,
Yeah.
I guess
It's
I'll just
changed
fall in love
everything.
with the robot now. This one right here doesn't seem to be too emotional. You know, you can just kind of talk to it and you can.
Well behaved. Much more well behaved than plenty of the people in that stadium, I'm sure.
Careful. Yeah, of course. We've always seen a lot of publicity stunts of this kind, and I'm sure this will become more and more common. But yeah, I think it is they're probably hoping for something to happen too, like the crazy guy to tackle one, or, you know, because anything is great. Any kind of publicity is great, but I don't know. I feel like this is eventually it's going to trigger a crowd, and something bad might happen, and that will be part of the narrative crafting, though, too. That will be part of trying to get people to be like, no, we got to defend the robots. They have rights and all that kind of stuff. And it won't even have to be a real robot, just a human in a robot costume. If they get attacked because people think it's a real robot or whatever, now you got discrimination, you got all this kind of stuff. So,
and that might sound silly.
It sounds crazy now, but
we've covered multiple times on the Flippy update of people totally going bonkers on a robot in public, destroying security robots, just kind of executing this is why we can't have nice things behavior. Right. The rest of the article goes into the movie at some depth. One of the sub-headlines is, the creator-director says to watch this movie before we're enslaved by AI.
Oh, good.
Sort of making a case for the complicated moral conundrum that is, sufficiently advanced AI integrating into society. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll watch the movie when it comes out and let everybody know if they don't want to do it. There is a subheadline of the importance of AI in Gareth Edwards' movie, talking about the importance of AI. So it's a whole thing. It's a full, this story about the AI showing up to the football game is about 100 paragraphs long. It's extraordinarily long. And goes into some very, very serious sort of deep philosophical things, which we are used to here on the Flippy Update, but no need to rehash what we've already covered.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see the film eventually. Is this actually like a movie, or is this supposed to be like a Netflix thing, or what?
No, it's a movie. Okay. Interesting thing. They actually I'm just kind of getting some of the pieces of this, but in the film, apparently they used real explosion footage, and it was the Beirut explosion. Remember the Beirut warehouse explosion?
Yeah.
Apparently they used that footage in the movie.
Who's got copywritten footage of that? Maybe some people.
I don't know.
That's crazy. That actually speaks to what I was going to say, was that the gap 100 years ago, a science fiction, either film or book or something like that, the gap between the story and reality was, it felt like just a big gap, because, if we don't have robots, we don't have, and whatever. But now it's like part of the promotional pitch is, hey, this is going to be real. So watch this fiction,
It's closer than you think.
It's this crazy thing where the what is it? The chasm is no longer, they're just building a digital bridge right across it, and I guess we're supposed to walk on it or something. Otherwise the robots come, or it's just like it's happening. So might as well weave it into the promotional material of science fiction, because clearly it's we're entering woo-woo science fiction world. And
very effective propaganda. The proximity to reality is what makes it so effective, I think.
Right. Yeah, because, you think about what science fiction theme or storyline at this point can really capture not just the imagination, but some kind of groundbreaking thing. It's almost like everything's been done. There's nothing new under the sun, even because, again, more robot AI movies.
That's true.
Okay.
It's a matter of making it feel more possible.
Right.
Is the thing. That's why you keep returning to different science fiction, and why science fiction keeps sort of straying further and further away from science fiction, is because, as science progresses and we get closer and closer, the science fiction material becomes more compelling precisely because it gets further and further away from fiction. And I don't know, I feel it very strongly, especially when I, watch trailers for specifically the creator. It's got a very interesting, realizable sort of feel to it.
Sure.
Anywho,
it's like the fake it till you make it. As the AI, they were like, fake it till you make it. It's programmed in. We're just going to make movies about it until it becomes a documentary.
Sure.
So
there you go.
Okay.
All right. There's your Flippy update for the day.
Nice job. All right. I want to show something real quick, a little audible here, just real briefly, because I just love this clip. It's 1 minute long. It really does expose the mainstream media propaganda apparatus. For those of you just listening, I will explain what's happening, and then you'll be able to hear the report. So this is a 1 minute clip. There's a guy named Joe. There was a guy named Joe who dug a hole at the beach. Have you ever dug a hole at the beach, Basil? I did it very recently. I was at the beach with my kids and dug a big old hole. So what you're going to hear at the beginning is a guy digging a hole at the beach. And then it kicks into the news report that evening or the next day or something. Oh, where's my sound? Here we go. Oh, sorry, folks. Here we go. Guy in a hole at the beach digging a sand hole. There he is, digging a hole. He's doing it. Got the shovel, the big hole. Nice work.
Thanks, Bernard. Now, finally, for now, mysterious hole on a beach has caused a stir in North Dublin. A local astronomy enthusiast is hoping the crater in Portmarnock could be the aftermath of a cosmic event.
Ooh.
It's a huge, mysterious crater that looks out of this world. But is it? The unusual hole on Portmarnock Beach stopped local astrophysics enthusiast Dave Kennedy in his tracks yesterday, and he's certain the small but heavy rock inside it came from up above.
As you can tell by here, there's a scorch mark on this side here, so that would have been at the angle that it came down at. And it is weighty. I'm not sure if it's composition, but we're definitely going to have to find out.
The striking hole soon caught the attention of passers-by, many hoping that what they're witnessing is the aftermath of a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event.
So once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event was actually just a guy digging a hole in the ground. And, I just love it. I think this exemplifies the problem with mainstream media. Not just mainstream media, but the people that get featured on mainstream media, because this doesn't bode well for not just the news outlet there, but the astrophysicist who's getting featured there. Coming up with this really elaborate theory. There's a rock, and it's probably what happened on the beach. And
very similar to the Mexican cake alien story in a way,
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just thought I would mention it because it's a fun little clip, and I got to put it in the show notes for people to be able to check it out. But let's talk a little bit about our favorite subject, the koofy koof.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 coronavirus. Vaccine. I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
New York Post CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury findings that COVID lab leak was likely whistleblower.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah. Again, the first thing that I noticed and just thought when I saw this headline was, and it's obvious, but it's just, came to the front of mind, was the whole new whistleblower stuff, the laws. It's not just about UFOs. I mean, we saw the UFO guys come out and talk about stuff, but it's probably about the exposing of corruption And I don't have the Manly P. Hall clip on me right here, but I played it in Age of Deceit 3 in the intro where Manly P. Hall, who was a Freemason, an occultist, and an author, he wrote the secrets to the keys to Freemasonry, the secret something of America. He wrote a bunch of stuff. And he mentions in one of his last lectures that in the 21st century, the Brotherhood is going to come in. They're going to do a cleanup job. They're going to rout out all the corruption, just like the Knights Templar did, which I thought was kind of an interesting angle on the Knights Templar too. But it's kind of a slow coming thing. It doesn't happen right away. And now we're at this stage where we have all these whistleblowers, and obviously we're going to have one for COVID, but here we go. The CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, offered to pay off analysts in order to bury their findings that COVID-19 most likely leaked from a lab in Wuhan, China. New whistleblower testimony to Congress alleges a senior level CIA officer told House committee leaders that his agency tried to pay off 6 analysts who found SARS-CoV-2 likely originated in a Wuhan lab if they changed their position and said the virus jumped from animals to humans, according to a letter sent Tuesday to CIA Director William Burns. Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic Chairman Brad Wenstrup, Republican, Ohio, and Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Chairman Mike Turner, the Republican from Ohio, requested all documents, communications, and pay info from the CIA's COVID discovery team by September 26th. Quote, according to the whistleblower, at the end of its review, 6 of the 7 members of the team believed the intelligence and science were sufficient to make a low-confidence assessment that COVID-19 originated from a laboratory in Wuhan, China, the House panel chairman wrote. I'm wondering if this is the same people who, you remember before, I don't know, a few months ago when a lot of the COVID stuff was breaking, there were reports that like, oh, the intelligence people are split. You know, half the people think this, you know, the other half think that. And
right.
I'm sure
that was more at the beginning of this year, but yeah.
So this is probably part of that.
For sure.
One side of the thing there. So, quote, the 7th member of the team, who also happened to be the most senior, was the lone officer to believe COVID-19 originated through zoonosis. Quote, the whistleblower further contends that to come to the eventual public determination of uncertainty, the other 6 members were given a significant monetary incentive to change their positions, they said, noting that the analysts were, quote, experienced officers with significant scientific expertise, end quote. Wenstrup and Turner also asked for documents and communications between the CIA and other federal agencies, including the State Department, the FBI, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Energy Department. There's a letter there. We don't have to go through all of that. But there you go. I mean,
I have got to know how much they were offered. What is this significant sum?
Yeah, I don't think it says in the letters. I didn't read all the letters, so maybe it's in there, but I'm pretty sure that they didn't mention it. But
what would it take, Gons? What would it take for you, an expert in virology, to take money from the CIA to change your expert opinion?
If you
got a price tag?
If you can get me 1 million Bitcoin, I will consider changing my.
Oh, Gons, be serious. Be serious. $100,000.
No.
If the CIA said, hey, look, here's the thing. Look, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people on the list. Everybody has their thing. Everybody has their theory. And look, we just need you to line up with us. Just align. You know, it's possible. The evidence is inconclusive. So 100 G's if you change your tune a little bit. I don't think 100 G's would be enough for me. But what I in the many sort of CIA and FBI related podcasts that I've listened to over the years, one thing I do know is that they are incredibly cheap. They are so stingy.
Yeah, they are.
You hear these stories about CIA agents or whoever that like betray the country and give up the names of double agents and stuff. And it's like, he did it for like $10,000.
What was
like,
that?
can we please, I mean, come on, just pay him better. That if your national security can be bought for $10,000, we have some serious labor issues going on in the intelligence agencies.
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It was either Mel Gibson or Bruce Willis. I'm a 90s kid. They're all kind of the action stars of the 90s. But it was a movie, I think it was called Ransom or something. Maybe it was a different one. But the whole movie, it's about getting his money back. And he goes through this whole thing, but it's only for like $20,000 or something, which, I mean, it's a lot of money. But
it's a lot of money.
But it's not for like, these people are pushing around millions of dollars and the criminal street gangs and all that kind of stuff. And he's getting himself involved in, going around taking people out for his 20K or whatever it is. I forget what movie it was. I think it was Mel Gibson. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
I mean, I get it, man. Times is tough.
Times 100K.
Tough. Sometimes you got to commit treason, which has I think treason can be prosecuted by the death penalty.
Sure.
What's your life worth? 10 G's? Maybe. Anyways, you know what's so funny about this is it doesn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, nobody is surprised about this. Everyone's like, oh, finally some actual reporting on some of this, because it had been suspected that this kind of thing was going on while it was unfolding.
And notice how it's done through the whistleblower program as well.
Yep.
All of these things, they're all going through a sort of official whistleblower protocols, from UFOs to COVID to climate change, all these really relevant topics. It's these whistleblowers that are confirming at least what all the crazy conspiracy theorists have been saying all along. Now, will anything really come of this? Probably not. But again, it's a war for your mind, folks. It's a good thing to keep on the back burner when you get into these conversations. And remember that if you're on our newsletter list, our email list, you get all of these links sent directly to your email box before every show. And it's not, it's just incredibly helpful if you're getting into conversations with your friends or your loved ones or strangers on the internet to be able to pull up with a single search in your email box, pull up actual links from mainstream articles that can support your crazy conspiracy theorist position. I mean, we've heard some incredible stories of people being able to pull up, evidence and mainstream reporting. That's the big point here. Just a reminder, we're not taking sources from blogs and stuff like that. Your normie person doesn't care about, the UFO blog or the anti-vax blog that you get stuff off of. But if you can pull this information from mainstream corporate news media, it can have a pretty serious effect on people who are brainwashed enough to believe anything the corporate media says, but they just don't take the time to actually read 100 articles a week to find the sweet spot where the truth just can't help but come out.
Yeah, and just to kind of stick with the COVID thing for a moment, we should mention, and to no one's surprise here, CBS News reported a couple days ago, FDA and CDC sign off on new COVID vaccines. Here's what to know about the updated shots for fall 2023. And, we don't have to go through it because we would just be simply repeating and regurgitating the propaganda there. But, there was an interesting couple things in this. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you want to give a summary or something. No, it's all right. But they as I was reading this, it's quite long, quite dense because it's like all of the information put in one spot. As I was reading it, the second I read the headline, I noticed this. And as I was reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not calling it boosters. There's this media movement away from using the term booster. They're not calling these boosters. They don't want you to get your booster. This is, a separate shot. This is totally different. It's your yearly shot. It's not a booster.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not calling it boosters. And then I get to this part in the article here that says, while the public has grown accustomed to calling additional shots boosters, health officials are now moving away from the word booster, instead calling it this year's shots the 2023-24 COVID-19 vaccine, or simply the updated COVID-19 vaccine. This clarification helps distinguish previous additional doses from this year's updated vaccine formula. And there's a couple interesting things about this. Number one, it kind of bursts the bubble of people who think they're clever, like me, catching these trends, live in real time, trying to decode the propaganda. They just put it right in there. Like, nope, we're not calling it that anymore, even though it's been called that forever. We're actually changing it to the updated vaccine. And the other important part about this is a way for them to sort of restart or refresh the sort of anti-vax shaming.
Yeah, they need a great reset. They need
it's
a refresh of the browser there.
Because it's not, hey, did you get the vax? That's what it was for 2 years. Did you get the vax? Did you not get the vax? Do I like you or not? Are you a monster or a terrorist, or are you a good boy? Whatever it is. It used to be that, but now it refreshes that status every single year. Did you get your updated vaccine? Did you get your updated? And if you didn't get you, even if you got it last year, if you didn't get it this year, oopsies, now you're a terrorist.
Yeah, it's all a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yep. Okay, speaking of which, let me teach you how to wage war on conspiracy theories.
Hey, conspiracy theorists are dangerous, okay? So we got to really be careful about being around them, talking to them.
Sure. Finding your jingle on the jingle board.
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
It's not the right jingle, but you get the drift.
Close enough.
Close enough. What do I have?
What's
written on the dock there? Sorry. What did I put there?
PSYOP.
Oh, PSYOP. Oh, of course. Yeah. All right,
PSYOP.
PSYOPs.
There it is.
There it is. It's coming from Politico.com. So remember, this is what politicians allegedly are reading up on the hill there. Headline, How to Wage War on Conspiracy Theories.
Oh, my.
Yes, so the W word. They're dropping the W word.
This is fifth generation warfare. They're actively telling politicians to engage in fifth generation warfare.
Exactly. And that was my first kind of feeling about this was you might be tempted to think that they are speaking in hyperbole or metaphor, talking about waging war on conspiracy theories. But as we broke down a couple of weeks ago, fifth generation warfare, we are in a fifth generation war right now. It's being waged in our midst. And fifth generation warfare really is that sort of full spectrum dominance, where the warfare, again, not just in crazy conspiracy land, but in actual academic analysis, fifth generation warfare includes the minds of civilians. It goes like this. Some researchers run experiments on rats. Adam Barin. Just love the thing.
When I read that line, I was like, I know where this is going. And I can't believe they are actually going there. But okay.
Yep, they're coming right out and saying it. And here's the thing. Remember when they talk about Trump and they say he's a fascist because he calls people, rodents, or he calls people a plague or whatever. That's how they label you a Nazi, is if you call a group of people or a person anything but people, then you are a fascist. Well, here's Politico. Some researchers ran experiments on rats. Adam Berinsky, the director of MIT Political Experiments Research Lab, runs them on humans who believe rumors, or what we now call disinformation. So Politico coming out and calling people who question the official narrative as rats. Got to kill them. Set a trap.
Okay, hold on, though. To say that if you believe a rumor, you are now engaged in disinformation.
Point Point 2, Gons. Thank you very much.
Okay.
A human who believes a rumor. A human who believes a rumor. They haven't even dropped the conspiracy theorist term.
Yeah.
They haven't dropped, whatever.
Just people
They're
who
saying,
believe rumors in general.
if a person believes a rumor or disinformation, they are akin to a rat. Berinsky doesn't use electrodes or mazes, just surveys and polls. And his research has led to conclusions that could inform the 2024 race and the sorts of voters that politicians should be tailoring their message towards. So, point 3, they are specifically writing this in the context of the election.
Yeah.
Which is important. Namely, Berinsky has found
How do you speak to the rats? How do you get more rats to come to your party?
Oh, it gets even better. Namely, Berinsky has found that false beliefs. Okay, we've talked about the false belief thing before. A belief is a belief. A false belief, they're trying to say a belief that isn't true, but you can't have a false belief. Okay, can be successfully debunked up to a point. And that we should be paying much more attention to a group of people often overlooked by politicians and pollsters, people who answer that they're not sure about a topic in surveys.
Oh.
So they're saying, yes, if you have a rumor-believing rat amongst you, they can be debunked up to a point, but instead of trying to convince your rat-like rumor-believing friends, your conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat domestic terrorists, that they are wrong, what we should be focusing on is people who are not sure. And specifically, politicians and pollsters should be paying more attention to the not sure crowd. And it goes on for quite some time about how these people who are not sure, specifically in the context of polls, they're talking about disinformation or conspiracy theorists. If someone believes a piece of disinformation, like Russia hacked our elections or things like that. In fact, they actually mention the birtherism. Obama wasn't born in the U.S., and I tried so hard to give them the benefit of the doubt because I've read some things like this before. And of course, we always assume they're talking about Republicans, right? It is implied that if they are talking about disinformation, they are talking about Republicans. And just as a practice in media analysis, I've been trying to read these articles not assuming that they are talking about Republicans until they actually say so.
Right.
And in this article, they started talking about birtherism. Now, one piece of information that is not very well known among the general public is that it was actually Hillary Clinton who started the rumor that Obama wasn't born in America. She did this the first time she tried to run against Barack Obama in the Democratic general elections. Hillary Clinton's campaign made up the birther conspiracy theory. Well, whether she made it up or it's true, I don't know. But she was the one who popularized it. Of course, we now know that it was the Hillary Clinton campaign that invented the Russiagate conspiracy theories, these types of things.
She's good at it. We should hire her.
She's very effective. And so they start bringing up the birther conspiracy theory. I'm like, okay, all right, I've been staying open. Are they going to include Democrats or include the left or include Hillary Clinton supporters into the into the group of rats that can believe rumors? And I'll save you the breath, Gons. Surprise, surprise, they didn't. They spoke about the birtherism conspiracy theory as if Trump invented it, which he did not. Anyways, so they specifically say focus on the not sure or I don't know or undecided. people. I'm going to jump down to this paragraph. One of Berinsky's takeaways is that we need to pay more attention to people who tell pollsters or focus groups that they are not sure or I don't know or undecided. That's the very group that political analysts often focus on the least, but they are key in countering misinformation. And the idea here is that if they're undecided, there's still a chance to convince them that they're wrong, because people who believe the rumors, or AKA people who do their own research, or AKA people who, you get the point, they're stuck. There's no changing their minds. It's sort of this interesting admission that, like, yeah, you know, we tried for many years now to demonize and convince people who do not believe the official narrative propaganda that they're wrong, and it's just impossible. So we're going to be focusing on the undecided people. And the fact that he says politicians need to focus more on the undecided people shows that this article is absolutely 100% propaganda, because everybody knows that elections are won and lost. Politicians live and die on the undecideds. That's the actual battleground, is the undecideds. Much like, you know, how a Democrat and a Republican, they're going to be Democrat and Republican. They very rarely switch sides. The politicians have always focused on the undecideds. So the fact that he's saying that politicians and pollsters don't focus on the independent or undecided voter is straight up a fabrication of political science. Unless this person, this is their like first year of poli-sci school or something.
Yeah, they were a gamer, and then they went to college, and all of a sudden they're political.
Yeah,
they don't know anything. Well, you know, it kind of, to your point, I wrote my notes and now I can't read the writing of what I wrote.
Yeah.
Basically what I was going to say was that I just lost it. I lost it. It's gone now. It's not in my brain anymore.
That's okay. Here's some more bits.
Oh, I got it. I remember.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. It reminds me of, because this is, you mentioned how Politico is always tailored towards people in DC, because, and especially more liberal Republican or Democrat crowd, although I think, you know, any politician will read it. The pendulum is very much in the side of the right now. And that means the louder voice right now, and it's true, the louder voice, at least on places like X, Twitter, whatever, it seems to be true that the conspiracy theorists or the skeptics of the narrative or people skeptical of government or whatever, it's the trend right now. You can't be like a celebrity and toe the line without getting completely demolished online. You know, like you can be, the vaccine, everyone's going to just completely ruin you.
Yeah.
So that's the temperament right now. And so if you're like a coach and you're trying to pump your team up and they're down, you know, maybe it's halftime and you're down by like 40, 50 points in a basketball game or something, you got to come up with an angle, right? But you got to come up with the most obvious angle and make it seem like a new thing to like pump him up, you know, like, hey guys, we just gotta score more points. I mean, it's really, I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but it's the key to win the game is put more points on the board than the other guys. So if we can do that, hey, we got it in the back. You know, it just kind of reminds me of this pointless pump up thing. That's what it seems like to me. They're trying to pump up the crowd, and they don't have any more substantive angles. So they have to kind of rehash old stuff, but make it seem like it's new and fresh. And if we do this, it'll work. When really, that's the strategy every time. So
yeah, and I think, you know, it's interesting that this article, again in Politico, is in a way, in a very clever way, admitting that they sort of lost the battle, and that they're losing the battle, that they cannot shame or demonize people away from questioning the official narrative.
Listen to this, to your point in the article here. It says here, the good news, Berinsky said, is that false beliefs in health and medicine can, in fact, be debunked. I think you did read this part. Did you read this part?
I was literally just about to, but that's okay. You got it.
The bad
I would
news,
actually start. I would actually start in the paragraph above.
Okay,
gives
so
a little bit more of a background.
The outreach to build confidence in COVID-19 vaccines in 2021-2022 proved that point, which was the point is
the point
undecided.
That they're not sure and undecided.
Right. Relatively few hardcore anti-vaxxers changed their mind and got the shot, but a lot of uncertain group did gain confidence and get vaccinated. So in the political sphere...
No, they didn't. They got absolutely shamed and peer pressured and threatened to lose their job and threatened to be excommunicated from their families or their faith communities. I mean, this is a bold-faced lie that they changed their minds.
No.
Or that
they changed their mind with a gun to their head, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So in the political sphere, it's important to address the, quote, uncertain group that political misinformation, including stolen elections, or group about political misinformation, including stolen elections. That doesn't mean that those who hold more firmly onto rumors or misinformation are a lost cause, he said. But getting even a small number to get a life-saving vaccine or to abandon conspiracy theories about election tampering is a win, even if the win is modest. The good news, Berinsky said, is that false beliefs in health and medicine can, in fact, be debunked. The bad news is that the debunking is ephemeral. It goes away. Sometimes over a period of months, sometimes in as little as a week.
So this part I love. They're saying even if you can debunk something, it goes away. It becomes unbunked. So sometime over a period of months, sometime as little as a week. You know, the truth is forever. The truth does not go away.
It's not ephemeral.
Is not ephemeral. The fact that they are calling their debunking ephemeral is proof. Maybe not proof. It is admission that their debunking is wispy. It is of the wind. It is ghost-like. It is an illusion, a fabrication that fades away to the stalwart. This stalwart sort of rock that is truth. They are admitting right there that, you know what? We can kind of convince the uncertains for like a second, but then over a month or something, it's going to go away. So you got to get them at the right time. You know, that's the thing with the truth. It's wispy and weak. You know, that's what these people don't get. True objective reality. It just comes and it goes and it changes and disappears at will. No, it is just an astounding. And remember, Politico is talking to politicians. So you can see, if you read it as if you are a politician, put yourself in those shiny black shoes, and you are being written to by Politico. And if you filter everything they're saying as a politician, it makes nothing but sense. A politician reads this and says, okay, if I lie well enough, about a month before an election, I can convince just enough people to win before everybody realizes that I'm a liar. Is the context of what is being written here.
You don't need eternal truth. You just need momentary wins, like small victories, so that you can take advantage of those. And they actually profile an avatar. What I mean is they kind of come up with this phrase called surprise communicator.
Yes, this is the best part. Okay, so it goes on. I'll continue where we left off. Quote, we've learned that a lot of these things that we thought were effective in the moment. But then over time, that effect fades. Kind of like some medical treatments that a lot of people tried out over the past few years. One effective debunker in health is the, quote, surprise communicator. Mm-hmm. For instance, for instance, it was a Republican, the late Senator Johnny Isakson of Georgia, who helped convince fellow Republicans that Obamacare had no death panels. Oh, yeah, they talk about the death panels a lot in this article, and which is like we're so far removed from
like
the time
12, 13 years.
Yeah, you're so far removed from the Obamacare death panel stuff that like it's so ineffective. But again, they're talking to politicians, so they remember these things. Isakson knew because he had written the provision about voluntary doctor-patient conversations that had been so grossly distorted. Okay, so they're talking about these surprise communicators, a Republican saying that there's no death panels, surprise, and it can be effective. Berinsky said, we can only wonder what would have happened if former President Donald Trump had become that surprise communicator and pushed a pro-vaccine message to his followers more consistently, even if a few of them heckled him.
His entire thing would fall apart, number one.
Have they completely lost their minds?
Number
Donald
two,
Trump was nothing but positive about the vaccine. Warp speed, he told people over and over and over. Donald Trump had never, ever once told people not to get the vaccine, and he told people to get it about 1,000 times, and he was taking credit for it. To imply that if only President Trump had supported the vaccines, then more people would have, more Republicans, presumably, would have gotten it, even though they would have heckled him. Donald Trump's pro-vaccine stance is the number one thing standing in his way right now. Between him and getting the next presidency. The fact that they are making up this imaginary world where Donald Trump was not pro-vaccine shows their own exact strategy of creating an ephemeral debunking that won't last a single Google search. But they try to make the point,
I think what they're getting at here, this Berinsky guy, what he's getting at is Trump wasn't dictatorial enough about it.
Right. Yeah.
Like he didn't mandate it.
He
right?
didn't mandate the thing.
So that he didn't push it enough.
That's
in
the
his
only
mind.
thing.
It would only make sense to the fascist. It's like, he was pro-vaccine, but not pro-vaccine enough. He didn't force it down people's arms.
The only next step he could have taken would have done a federal mandate of the vaccine, which they would have loved. And it finishes up here. Berinsky didn't write a hopeful book, and it wasn't hopeful conversation, but it wasn't totally despairing either. Ugh, this is a bad article. There's no magic bullet against rumors and lies. There's no magic bullet against rumors and lies. I mean, the truth is pretty effective against rumors and lies. But again, they're talking to politicians. They get those things mixed up a lot. But there are more and more ways of fighting them, and using all of them consistently and over time can make a difference. Yeah, we've seen that. No tool will sway 10 or 20% of disbelievers. It will be a few percent here, a few percent there. We have to recalibrate, he said, how we define success.
There
and I love the ending of this. So first of all, the headline was how we wage war on conspiracy theories. Not a single sentence in this article was about waging war on conspiracy theories. It was about targeting those who are unsure about rumors. Okay. There was no strategy about war on conspiracy theories. It was targeting those who are still targetable. And in the end, there's the admission that you're not going to sway 10 or 20%. You're not even going to sway double digits of disbelievers. It'll be a few percent here, a few percent there. We have to recalibrate, and that's how we define success. And you can tell he's talking to politicians, and you can tell it's an election year because that's how election strategists think. It's a few percent here, a few percent there, a few percent in Nevada, a few percent in Georgia, a few percent in Arizona, just a couple of percent in these very strategic places can get you where you need to go. It was an incredible sort of experience thinking I was going into this just going to read another anti-conspiracy theorist scree by some, from some politically motivated reporter. But it was like this secret message. It was like a cryptological missive that was being broadcast out using secret language and secret intentions that had nothing to do with the way that it was presented. And you could see, again, going back to, it's kind of similar to the alien and the hole on the beach thing, where something is one way, but the media turns around and presents it in a way that is entirely disconnected from reality. Because remember, debunking is ephemeral. It's not going to stick, so you might as well just put this brainwashing into the media.
That's a really useful piece of logic for people who control everything too, because if their thing gets debunked, you can say like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you won this round, but then let's see if it's still true in 3 months or something.
That's how they do it.
And they just keep the ball rolling. They keep kicking the can down the road, and you can keep the debate going, and you can keep this whole charade going. So it makes sense.
He said it in here, as long as you're consistent enough.
Right.
Because that your debunking only lasts a month. That's why you have to hammer it home every week. You got to keep it going, because the second you keep it going, the debunking falls apart because it's not true.
Well, the other thing is, and we know this already, but misconstruing, and we mentioned it, rumors with misinformation, because misinformation in the minds of the media here is synonymous with conspiracy theories, and that's why they use that in the headline.
Right.
Any information that does not help you get elected is a conspiracy theory and a rumor. Right. They're sort of just saying any information that is against you is
interesting.
Basically a conspiracy theory. And if you're a politician and you think like that, you can come up with really creative ways to quote unquote debunk those things or put, spin it a certain way or something. And, that's the game. Politicians have become really good at doing that. So, and to Trump's credit, he was good at that too. I mean, he had some personal, character flaws or whatever they may be, but it didn't seem to affect a lot of people and their opinions about him when it came to voting for him. So, hey, they're going to continue the control system. They're going to continue to suck the blood of humans and Americans. They will continue to tick on, I suppose. Real quick, do you have anything else on this, or do you want to move
I'm
on?
all done.
Let's touch on this briefly.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
We've tracked this topic quite a bit, and there are many shoot-offs, or what am I trying to say? Many offshoots. Yeah. Did I say shoot-off for offshoot?
Off. We're having a Canary crash shoot-off, everybody.
Wow, that was my gosh, I'm turning into my mother. My mother used to always do that. She would flip the words. It must be a Japanese thing. Yeah, it's like my Japanese mind thinks backwards because the words are backwards. Okay,
that's funny.
Headline here. Human trials of artificial wombs could start soon. Here's what you need to know. Okay, so we've been tracking. We've been seeing the development throughout this year about, artificial embryo, a little... keeping an embryo alive past a certain point. And then we've seen the artificial womb conversation quite a bit this year as well. But now they're saying that clinical trials may be coming. A hairless, pale-skinned lamb lies on its side in what appears to be an oversized sandwich bag filled with hazy fluid. Its eyes are closed and its snout and limbs jerk as if the animal, which is only about 3/4 of the way through its gestation period, is dreaming. The lamb was one of 8 in the 2017 artificial womb experiment carried out by researchers at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, CHOP in Pennsylvania, not to be confused with CHOP from Washington. Was it, or Oregon? What was it? I think it was the state of Washington during the Black Lives Matter. Was that whole section called CHOP?
CHOP, yeah.
Or maybe it was, oh, that's right. They changed it to Chaz. All right, maybe it was different. Anyway.
It started as Chaz, but then they renamed it because they didn't want it to be a masculine name.
Okay, so they wanted to do artificial womb experiments. That makes sense. When the team published its research in April of that year, it released a video of the experiment that spread widely and captured imaginations, for some evoking science fiction fantasies of human beings conceived of grown entirely in a laboratory. And the image here, of course, I think we've shown it. It's creepy. I mean, it's a baby lamb inside of a bag and, a fluid, and it's moving around and going through its whole thing there. Now the researchers at CHOP are seeking approval for the first human clinical trial of the device they've been testing, named the Extrauterine Environment for Newborn Development, or EXTEND. We're extending the womb. The team has emphasized that the technology is not intended or able to support development from conception to birth. Instead, the scientists hope that simulating some elements of a natural womb will increase survival and improve outcomes for extremely premature babies. In humans, that's anything earlier than 28 weeks of gestation, less than 70% of the way to full term, which is typically between 37 and 40 weeks. And let's see, the CHOP group has made bold predictions about the technology's potential. In another 2017 video describing the project, Alan Flake, a fetal surgeon at CHOP, who has been leading the effort, said, quote, "If it's as successful as we think it could be ultimately, the majority of pregnancies that are predicated at risk for extreme prematurity would be delivered early onto our system rather than being delivered prematurely onto a ventilator." So it's always in the context of helping people, health issues and stuff like that. So no surprises there. You got the FDA. They're going to convene, have a meeting the 19th and 20th of September to discuss the regulatory and ethical considerations. And so here's the thing. The ethical considerations, the way it's being framed in this article, this nature.com article, already is a positive ethical framework. Hey, we're doing this for the preemies. We're not doing this to create creepy Gollum and homunculus in a lab. We're
sexless human reproduction. Because
it's not for the guys to, or I mean the
transhumans.
The transgenders to have the males to be able to have to get pregnant. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing it for the preemies. So anyway, that's sort of the big takeaway here. We don't have to get into all the details. They talk about how, of course, they use the World Health Organization to define, preterm birth and things like that. There was another science paper. I don't have it, but one of the articles we skipped over the last, couple weeks as we've been bumpily trying to get along here. There was an article about how there's new science showing that we need to change the laws about embryos because they want to make it so the language pertains to the potentiality of life, because in the cells are already the mechanisms that become life. And so they were able to show it sort of scientifically. And that's kind of a blow to the whole, pro-abortion people. But I think it's interesting because while that part of culture is being more moved in what conservatives would want, which is no, life begins at conception. That's what most conservatives and people on the right are saying. So now the science is like, you know what, you guys are right. It does begin at conception. But now we can just, it doesn't matter if you're a preemie because we can just we have all the artificial tools, so it's like, great. They're losing the abortion battle, but instead of killing the babies, now they just want to put them in a bag, like a fluid bag, and grow them themselves.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's the transhuman dream.
Right.
I mean, it applies to so many different areas of the sort of progression of human history right now.
Yeah.
Some even see it as kind of I don't know, the destiny of the human race to take control over that process. And, you know, it's something we've been following their desire to do for many years. And it just keeps inching closer, just like everything else.
It's so strange to me how it all ties into, first of all, alchemy, because all the alchemists have wanted to do is to find everlasting life and turn, you know, stone into gold and all this kind of stuff, this transmutation idea. And part of it being to be able to create a life, not through the natural process, but through the scientific process. But also just a direct attack on the miracle of the virgin birth and of Jesus and the whole thing there. It's just so fascinating that as man becomes more sufficient with their technology, their whole thing is like, well, we want to be able to achieve this virgin birth thing and perhaps create the greatest human Ubermensch ever, which I think is part of the plan there.
I mean, it makes sense to me, guys.
Well, yeah. The plan of the enemy there is pretty obvious. There's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
There you
And
go.
one way we can fight against the plan of the enemy, Gons, is to use our God-given talents to support some kingdom work going on in the world. And here's a little secret, Gons. We have a lot of very talented producers, and I think we should thank them.
We should. Did we we're not going to thank treasure producers today? I know we didn't have executive producers.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that too.
Okay. Do you want to do that first? Usually we do that first.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Value for value.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Yep, that's right. Value for value. We thanked our... Oh, big alert, Gons. Big alert.
Produce big alert.
News. We got some executive producers.
Hey.
Coming in during the show, saving the day. Some is a bit of a strong word, but we do have an executive producer who came in, saw a need, filled a need, keeping the show going. I want to thank them now.
Executive producers.
Yeah, you know them, you love them. They're the executive producers. They are the most beautiful, awe-inspiring individuals that they hear a call and they answer that call. And today we had 0 executive producers, and somebody heard that. I don't know if they heard it or not, but during the show we had an executive producer come in, and we want to thank them for their producership. Join me, stand up, rousing round of applause for executive producer Jimbo. Thank you very much, Jimbo. Thank you very much, executive producer Jimbo comes in for 222.
Ooh, 222.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's very generous. Thank you very much. That takes the sting out of episodes like this. 222 cents. We appreciate that very much. Executive producer Jimbo comes in with a note here. Says, thanks, fellers. Almost halfway to knighthood. Enjoy your weekends, everyone.
Hey, thank you, Jimbo.
Well, there you go, everybody. Executive producer Jimbo said it, so now you must obey. You must enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much.
This?
There we go. He's cruising up on his round table knighthood, too. That's very cool. Thank you very much for saving the day there, executive producer Jimbo.
Thank you, Jimbo.
Okay, we got a few more people to thank.
Okay.
A very few more people to thank. Starting with, wow, yeah, without Jimbo, this would have been one of those days, Guns. But we've got these wonderful producers who did come in, starting with producer Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Dame Sarah of the Shadows. Thank you.
Yes. And Dame Sarah came in for $66.
Ooh, thank you very much.
In response to the 666 episode. And Dame Sarah sent a note here that says, hello there, Canary Cry family. Cannot believe you have reached 666 episodes. Great job, boys. I remember when... Insert old joke here. You started News Talk as an exercise in perseverance. I cannot believe that she remembered that. That's really hilarious.
Good.
We've only mentioned it a few times in the past couple of years, but for those who are kind of new to the show in the past couple of years, we started News Talk in 2016.
Yeah.
just to like practice consistency, because at that time we were being extraordinarily inconsistent. We're like, we got to do something to just practice for ourselves being consistent. And we were doing a single 29 minute episode a week, which sounds silly. But at the time, for us to be able to consistently put out 29 minutes a week was like such a victory for us.
And now we are consistently inconsistent, but at least we are consistent.
I know. We're going to need
the best of our ability.
Going to need to start a new practice in consistency, guns.
We need a reset. We need some new wheels on this wagon or something.
Dame Sarah's note continues. You started News Talk as an exercise in perseverance, and now here you are. CCNT is now its own thing and thriving. I got to say, it took me a while to jump on the train, but I'm so glad I did. Each of them have been jam-packed with news and biblical views. Sometimes the world gets me down, but it's crucial to remember that God wins in the end.
Amen.
For those of you who don't know, join me this weekend for Canary Cry Radio re-listen to episode 85. And don't forget to think outside the cage. Much love to the whole family, Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Hey, thank you very much, Dame Sarah. That's Planet X with Doug Elwell.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, especially with all the X stuff happening. Planet X.
I wonder if there's more Planet X stuff going on.
Is Planet X going to show up and just a bunch of Elons? Like, they just all come out.
For those of you who don't know, I wonder, you know what? There's probably either on the Discord or at canarycry.community. Maybe there's a group of people doing a re-listen project.
That'd be cool.
Well, enjoy. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah.
Thank you, Dame Sarah. Appreciate it.
We had producer Malik. He's here. He's on a 17 episode streak.
One shy of a supernova.
Yeah. And you know what? That concludes the list of financial producers who came in above 777. I know. Without James, we would have really been sad about this.
Yeah.
But we got a few who came in under the $7.77 mark. Okay. And I want to thank them real quick, starting with Doctor Who Done Dat on a 6-episode streak.
Doctor Who Done That. Thank you very much.
We got Veronica D on a 306-episode streak.
Thank you, Veronica D.
We got a big one here for Sir Scott, Knight of Truth. You might get that trigger finger going because Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, is on a 333 episode streak. Very impressive. Thank you very much, Sir Scott. Sir Scott, Knight of Truth. Yeah, 333. Wow, he's done it. Next up, we've got You Know Him, You Love Him. He's got his own jingle. Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
346 episodes in a row. We got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 305.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
And Sir Morv, Knight of the Burning Chariots, 277 episodes.
All right. Thank you, Sir Morv.
That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you guys all so much. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And moving forward, consider. It's been a while since we had some demooching. If there's anybody out there who has never produced the show over the weekend, maybe let's see how many. It'd be fun to try to set a record for demoochings.
I don't think it's very high. It's got to be only 3 or 4 or something.
I think it's 3 or 4. Okay. Yeah. If we got 5 demoochings by Monday, that would be pretty sick. Let's give it a go. Maybe you've never produced the show before. Well, we have a jingle for you, and we would love to play it. Just go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Yep.
Canarycry.support.
And real quick, Guns, we do have some people who have joined the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. They jumped in on the supply drop.
Okay.
Yeah. We missed one from a couple weeks ago, and the rest of these came in the past couple days. Want to hit a jingle? Yeah. There you go. Canary Cry Babysitters Club. It's a special we're running right now. Those who join the Canary Cry supply drop are getting an extra shirt, a shirt that they would have no access to. It's strictly for the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. But we are looking for now 26 more people to go sign up for the supply drop. Each supply drop counts as 1 hour of babysitting per month, so it's kind of cool. By signing up, you're helping pay for an hour of babysitting. We are in the long journey of finding a quality sort of long-term child care solution for Gons, and you can become a part of that. I will thank you, Gons will thank you, and Gons' children will grow up knowing exactly who made the sacrifice to get them the child care they deserved while their podcaster dad was doing his thing.
Oh, gosh.
So we got a few more people to thank who signed up. And I'd like to thank, I'm going to call this one supply drop producer, Cedar Crest.
Cedar Crest. Wow.
Cedar Crest. Thank you very much. Supply drop producer, babysitter, Cedar Crest. You know who signed up was Dr. Who Done Dat.
Hey, Dr. Who Done Dat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's in the Babysitters Club. Thank you very much, Dr. Who Done Dat. Next, we have Gloria M.
Gloria M. Thank you.
Gloria M. Thank you so much. Gloria M. came in recently. And coming in today, we had producer, babysitter extraordinaire, Stephen D.
Stephen D. Thank you very much.
All right. Finally, I'll have to change the King Charles Babysitter Club thermometer that Duff made. For some
It's
reason.
moving. That Mercury's moving now.
It hasn't moved in like a month.
More global warming.
So thank you very much. Go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com or canarycrysupply.com. It would really help us out.
Yep.
All right, there we go.
Yep. And if you can't produce the show with your treasure, that's okay. There's other ways to help produce the show. And one way is with your talent. Help us build the culture behind the community here. You know, you got Burning Man. They got all this art. They got all these people making amazing architecture. And we do something similar here, but we have a different message, obviously. And we ask for people with all kinds of talent to come in and produce the show in whatever way you want to. Basil's still waiting for the Fushigi situation there. There's lots of different ways that you can do it.
Right now, I know there's a producer out there who has been learning and practicing and mastering Fushigi juggling just for me. I know you're out there. Take your time. The Lord has told me to wait upon his timing for the Fushigi juggling art to be sent in.
I would like to see a marketing
wait
stunt.
upon the Lord.
I would like to see a marketing stunt similar to the creator thing, except it'll be people in Canary Cry shirts, you know, these special shirts we have on the T-shirt Council. Maybe the T-shirt Council can go figure this out. And then everybody wears a VR headset with googly eyes, and they just nonchalantly walk out into a sports ball game, and they all sit, and people wonder, what's the promotion for some weird Christian podcast? And we'll go viral.
You know, if it works for robots, it'll work for us. That's one thing I've learned doing this show.
There'll be some expensive tickets, though, if you're going to get on the floor. Although,
Show me art.
Oh, art. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Art. Sorry. We're going to start with, we're going to start with a quick speak pipe here before we get into all the arty art.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. On any of the pages at the website, there's a green tab on the right side. Click on it. It'll open a little window that allows you to record an audio message from your device or through your device of up to 90 seconds, and you can send us that audio. Make sure to let us know if it's a private message right at the top so we don't accidentally play private information on air. We have one speak pipe today from I believe it is Double Silly Goose Elder Dave today.
Oh,
hi guys. Double Silly Goose Elder Dave here. I'm not taking any responsibility for this. You guys forced me to go here. It's your fault. Ancient Chinese saying, Better to have potty podcast accident with young offspring now than to have potty podcast senior accident 40 years from now on a future podcast. Hope you're doing well. Love you. God love you. Have a nice day.
Double silly goose, Elder Dave.
That was double silly.
Such wisdom does not come from a book. Such wisdom does not come from a school. Such wisdom can only be learned by living it.
Podcast.
That is. Thank you very much, Dave.
That is brilliant. Thank you. Double silly goose, Elder Dave. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to do some audio production now.
Audio production.
I'm going to catch up real briefly here on Jonathan F's stuff that we didn't get to last episode.
Jonathan F.
One of them, I believe, is just a redo of the clones jingle.
It is standard procedure for all new clones to be given tests.
Clones. What about the other clones?
There you go. That vocal is louder, much better. Thank you very much, Jonathan F, for that one. He also has this Biden flub video. I don't know if the video is going to work because it has not worked on my new rig here, but I will try it. Here's Biden.
And look, nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want.
Yeah, the video's not working for some reason on the browser, but yeah, this is that Biden moment where didn't they basically take him off the podium and kind of escort him off the stage? Is that the one? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
There's been a few flubs recently.
There's been so many recently.
It's almost like every time. That's the other thing.
Track of them.
Yeah, the media, and this is expected. We kind of saw this starting to happen a few weeks ago, but the media is fully turning on Biden, which we kind of expected. But it's kind of an interesting move to see what actually plays out with all that. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. Appreciate it. We also have something from Lloyd V. Lloyd V's back. Does he have a title jingle? I don't remember if he does. Let us know, Lloyd V, if you do. I know I gotta clean. Oh no, this is the actual clip itself. He sent us. He's a note here. Let me read it. Dear Basil and Gons, a few episodes ago you requested a clone jingle, so I decided to make one for you. The audio bite is from the movie White Chicks. I hope you like it and find it usable. God bless, Lloyd V. P's. Oh no, Lloyd V. P.S. A few weeks ago when I was at a aquatic theme park in Holland. Let me do the jingle first.
Oh,
yeah, what's going on?
We've been cloned!
And there's Silly Goose Elder Dave's sound effect he kept trying to send us to.
I know.
That's great. Thank
really
you, Lloyd.
Making things happen. Okay, so this is the second part of the PS. A few weeks ago when I was at a aquatic theme park in Holland called Dolphinarium with my family. Is that like dolphins? Yeah. I thought I saw Basil. When I saw his face, it unfortunately wasn't Basil. Or so I think. How do you know? Because I never have seen his face clearly. But nonetheless, he could be Basil's doppelganger. I only have a picture from behind, though. Please let me know if it was you, hair. Basil.
He's kind of skinny. Oh, and he's pushing a stroller. Unless there's an emu in the stroller.
Yeah, it seems a little.
Actually, that's pretty intuitive of Mr. V.
It's the Birkenstocks.
And no, not a flip-flop guy, and his legs are too skinny.
He's a little, looks a little skinny, a little short.
Though.
Yeah, a little clean, a little too clean, in my opinion.
No,
a little too nice of a pony.
Man, nice try. I would never show up to a dolphinarium without my disguise on anyways. I don't want the dolphins recognizing me.
The secret dolphin spies. Thank you very much, Lloyd V. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to some art.
One art, please.
Kick it off with Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
Sir Dove says, peace. For today's artwork, I made a potential sticker design for our favorite former Fed chair and Treasury Secretary, Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do. Don't keep praying for yins. Dove.
Yeah, this one's very funny. It's got sort of a psychedelic rainbow effect in the background over an excellent picture of some Amanita muscaria mushrooms. That's the red ones with the white dots. And in the foreground, we've got some Super Mario Brothers rainbow text that says, "Yelling on mushrooms," with the Canary Cry .party down at the bottom. And in the center, you've got Toad,
yeah,
from Super Mario, with the mushroom hat on, with the round body, the little vest, full on Toad. However, Toad is wearing a Baphomet necklace.
Yes, and she has a all-seeing eye, all-seeing eye triangle earring on her right ear.
Well, yes, and the punchline is that instead of Toad's face, we've got Janet Yellen's face. With sort of some crossed eyes. She's obviously been enjoying 4 more helpings of that very special mushroom dish that she loves so much.
Delicious mushroom dish. All of us enjoyed the mushrooms, and none of us felt any ill effects from having eaten them.
Yeah, it's not ill effects, it's chill effects. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. This is excellent work.
Nobody asked her if she got ill from the mushrooms.
Right.
This is a sneaky way to answer that, Janet.
That's how they do it, man. She's a professional.
She's there for a reason. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Dove, Knight of Ruspeltia. Next up, we have Mark A coming in. It's been a while. Mark A says, "Shalom, boys.
Yeah.
Today's..."
Just real quick, so I can pull up the right one. Did you do the full one that has the background image, the scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Today's art is the creation of Dolphin Boy. Hope yins like it. Gons, I also cropped some art for the thumbnail. Mark A. I had to make a correction to my shirt. Yeah. So okay, got it. So yes, this first one, yes, it's the mad scientist Basil robot arm creating Dolphin Boy in a lab.
He has taken this character that he's created to the next level. This is an extremely good piece of work in the universe of Mark A. And Basil, the disembodied robot arm with googly eyes, has gone full Doc Brown mad scientist. He's got the mad scientist coat on. He's got the wild hair. He's screaming sort of maniacally, and in the background, there's some giant tubes. One has a man in it. The other has a dolphin in it, but they are sort of in cryogenic sleep with face masks on. And I'm assuming that those are the two subjects that were combined to create Dolphin Boy, who we can see laying on the table here. Is this an extremely deep cut, or did I kind of forget what Dolphin Boy is?
You must have forgotten.
Was this in Canary Cry folklore?
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yes, and it was actually brought up recently again. And you were surprised
was I here
again.
For it?
Yeah, you were there. You were surprised that you never heard of it.
This
but
Dolphin Boy thing is not sticking.
Yeah,
give me the lore.
Give me the lore. It's when I was visiting my wife's old house when the house she grew up in. There's a pool in the backyard. We're all hanging out in the pool, and we started racing a little bit. And of course, I was a competitive swimmer, so I was beating everybody. And my mother-in-law got really upset, and she's like, "All right, Dolphin Boy, show off."
Right.
And that's where it came from.
I'm remembering. Got it.
Yeah.
And then did we add the part about mad scientists creating Dolphin Boy? We must have.
That's
that
all Mark A, man.
Something.
That's all Mark A. Just took little pieces, ran with it.
Well, this is an excellent piece, Mark A. It came in a little late, so I almost didn't include it in the email, but I'm glad that I did.
Yep, and you'll be seeing some duo photos in the rendition.
In the thumbnails, right?
Yeah, the thumbnails coming up in an episode. Thank you very much, Mark A. Appreciate it, and appreciate the thumbnail versions of us as well. We need more of that. One more here from Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas. And let's see. Sir Darren had... Oh, yeah, that's right. I have to switch like 5 different things going on here. Oh, Basil, you're not on screen. Okay. Sir Darren says, and I don't understand if he misplaced the cut and paste, or did I ruin it? I might have ruined it, because the note says, or episode 666. I wondered what it would be like if CCNT had their own energy drinks, ? Dramatic trailer narration voice. Oh, you got to do the voice, Basil, I guess.
Are you reading a note or are you reading the art?
I'm reading the note that came with the art.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I will get there. Luckily, I have the spreadsheet open and I'm in VR, which means I have to use my finger to scroll, and it is not easy to do. It may sound like some serious first world problems, but I am the metaverse man. Okay, here we go. Sir Darren, where is it? Wait. Oh no. What line is it on?
For 5 seconds.
372.
There you go.
Line 372.
In a world controlled by advertisers, where YouTubers promoted flavored sugar water, made cringy Let's Play streams and ASMR videos, where everyone was overwhelmed by ads, promo codes, and links to receive 33% off your next order of energy drinks, one producer dared to think outside the cage. Here is the CCNT energy drink disclaimer. Yeah, so let me talk about the art for the listeners right now. We have our resident professional marketeer here, Sir Darren, and he's got the most professional ad that we may have ever seen for this show, but it is in the form of Canary Cry energy drinks, CCNT energy drinks. What I love about Sir Darren and his producership with his art is that he is obviously a professional. We are really blessed to have a true professional making ads for us. However, all the ads he makes are of non-existent fictional products, which is just perfect. I wouldn't want it any other way. Why would we have a professional marketer create, professional marketing material for our actual product when we can do it for jokey fake products? And here we've got the Canary CCNT energy drink line. Collect all 33 flavors. On the left, we've got Think Outside the Cage. It looks like lemony goodness. In the middle, we've got Propaganda Rooster. Join the revolution. Of course, we've got the classic original Canary Cry News Talk flavor. We've got Turn It Up to 11. Think Outside the Cage. Basil's waifu flavor here, and we've got It's Wake Up Time, Canary Cry News Talk. 5 different flavors presented here. Excellent disclaimer here at the bottom as well, because every good marketer needs to use proper disclaimers for legal reasons. So here's what plays at the end of the ad. Please exercise responsibility when consuming CCNT beverages. Do not operate heavy machinery unless you are licensed or possess a can-do attitude. CCNT is a fictional beverage, and we cannot be held liable for any company or individual claiming to have produced CCNT as a beverage unless they are supporting the show with their time, talent, or treasure. Remember to think outside the cage and support your best buddies Basil and Gons with V4V, and continue to consume as much CCNT as possible. The show, not the beverage, which is fictional.
Sir Darren Ness made the video of this thing too. You want to watch this?
Did he? Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me get the audio.
Gotta share it on
here.
Twitter.
Oh, where's the sound? Here we go. Unmute. 30-second ad.
Turn it up to 11. Oh my gosh, look at it go. We've got the bouncy cans. We've got some excellent around, spinning around.
Beach can featured.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic. Sir Darren S.
That is excellent. I wish I could have kept up with it, but I was on a lag. But we will put this on our Twitter. We'll put this everywhere.
Yeah.
This is great. This is great. I'll put it in the next email as well, so everybody can check it out.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Sir Darren.
Thank
well
you,
done.
Sir Darren. I believe that's it for the producers today. I don't think we have any microfiction, unless I missed it. But it's okay. We appreciate all of you coming in here. Basil?
Yeah.
It's pretty late.
Yeah, I know. You're telling me.
I know.
You're telling me. I've been sitting here since 2:30. Let's just real quick. Let's just hit Antarctica and then we'll get out of here.
Okay.
It'll be fast. I'll do it.
Here we go.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Climate crisis.
Penguins.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you want to produce the show with your talent, go to canarycry.art to upload your art there. And if you want us to read an article or consider an article for the show, go to canarycry.report. Sorry, forgot about that. Okay, this Antarctica story, well, you know the deal. Antarctica, it's not just a continent. It's hope. It's the future of humanity. It's a sort of voodoo doll that the elites get to use to message to the rest of the world, not just the plans for the future, a la climate change, etc., but they use it also as sort of the carrot on the end of the stick, leading all good white liberals to the promised land, which is Antarctica. And nationalworld.com has a headline: replica of Shackleton's Antarctic ship Endurance completes Ukraine journey. Why was it in war-torn nation? So this is part of the funniest part about Antarctica is in the messaging, in the ideology, everything. Somehow they're able to connect Antarctica to literally anything they want. And Antarctica messaging with Ukraine, this is not the first time, but this is definitely this is the silliest time, the silliest, goosiest time. Let me read that headline again. Replica. You know what? I love that people who have been listening to our show know more about Antarctica than the normal person, including Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, all this stuff. It just makes me feel really happy and at home that I can talk about this stuff and people know what I'm talking about. Replica of Shackleton's Antarctic ship Endurance completes Ukraine journey. Why was it in war-torn nation? ? A replica of Shackleton's legendary polar exploration ship Endurance has completed a hazardous journey from Ukraine. The intricate model of Endurance was built on behalf of the Shipwreck Treasure Museum in Charleston, Cornwall, by retired Ukrainian rocket engineer Vitaly Vrubel. There's so much there in that one paragraph.
Yeah, this is like Jack Parsons. It's got some Jack Parsons thing with the rocket engineer. It's got the paperclip vibe from post-World War II Nazis being recruited into the U.S. rocketry, NASA and everything. It's got a similar vibe, but it's weird because it's a model.
It's a model ship.
It's not even like the real thing.
It's a model ship that some old guy made in Ukraine, and it has somehow been exfiltrated from Ukraine. His home city of Dnipro has been repeatedly battered by airstrikes since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began in February 2022. Vitaly was commissioned by the museum to build the model after a social media appeal by his daughter early on in Russia's invasion to help save her father's other models during the conflict. Okay, commission my dad to make you a model so he can save his other models. The ship became famous for sinking, we know, in the Weddell Sea in 1915 during polar explorer Ernest Shackleton's failed expedition to Antarctica.
Failed?
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. I mean, it sank. Is about as fail-y as you could get sailing a boat in 1915 down in Antarctica. The model will eventually, but I think it's heartwarming that you question Shackleton's failed expedition. In some way, wasn't it a victory, Gons?
It's just we got to just redefine success is what we got to do here.
That's right. We got to do it over and over and over because it's ethereal. The model will eventually form the centerpiece of an exhibition at the museum in March next year after being carefully transported to Cornwall by volunteer Andy Evangelou and Plymouth-based Ukrainian refugee Maxim Litvinov. Can you look up where Cornwall is? The pair successfully retrieved the model from the hot zone. Okay, here we go. Ooh, we got a little Saving Private Ryan in here, too. The pair successfully retrieved the model from the hot zone city with the help of former South African soldier Lionel DeLange. We got a mercenary. A mercenary is saving this model ship, whose charity Warriors of Wildlife has previously rescued zoo animals from fighting in Ukraine. I like to think that saving the zoo animals from fighting in Ukraine means they were about to get drafted.
Yeah, Zelensky was trying to get them into the whole militia there and military and Cornwall is southwest England.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Speaking last year, Vitali said, quote, "We live with the understanding we can die at any moment. Missile strikes are carried out regularly. Air raid sirens wail daily and night. We don't hide in a bomb shelter because there isn't one. We just go to the hall where there are no windows. The desire to create accurate historical copies of ships requires careful study of the material, the historical features of the era, and the specifics of the vessel." Without taking a breath, this guy goes from talking about diving into windowless halls to escape bombs and missiles to talking about the intricacies of making model ships. It takes a lot of time, but it is very interesting. The captain had to know everything about the ship, even down to the smallest detail. I feel that even if we're not on the front line, we're still fighting.
Fifth generation warfare. Everybody's in the war, including retired rocket engineers making model ships.
Yeah. Well, exactly. This guy is a soldier in the fifth generation warfare, being commissioned, being written about, making an Sir Ernest Shackleton, connecting it to Antarctica, the future utopia of white liberals, good people who are supporting the war in Ukraine. The formerly failed sunken ship being rebuilt in Ukraine and, going on a journey, being rescued from the hot zone. The model took over a year to complete due to frequent power outages in the city. He just stayed there. He just stayed in the city while it was being bombed, building. That's like a scene from some sort of quirky movie, you got the whole story going on. There's big battle going on, explosions, and then the sort of deaf old guy building a model ship in his office, and the walls keep shaking and the glass keeps shattering, but he's very, very focused.
Yeah, I was just thinking of some movies that are like that, or war-torn background or war-torn setting. And there's always, the guy who was making violins or something. There's always like a guy who's doing like the real,
exactly. He's doing the work of culture,
right? He's keeping the culture alive, and that was his important work. And very, very similar in that regard. Interesting.
Here's the South African mercenary. He said, "I was asked to go to the east of Ukraine to a very hot zone to pick up this box. We picked it up in a really, really hot area. There was continuous shelling. This guy almost died getting this model."
Hey, so man, everyone's part of the war, okay? Including picking up model ships. It's really important.
We picked it up in a really, really hot area. There was continuous shelling. So we hope a lot of people get a lot of pleasure out of it. Please like this boat. Please go see this boat. Please. I almost died getting this boat.
Someone's going to direct energy weapon. Dew from the sky is going to burn it to shreds in like 2 seconds. And there it goes.
Paint the roof blue. Protect the boat. Paint the roof blue.
Color the boat blue to keep it from the dews.
Lynn Rubenheimer from the Shipwreck Treasure Museum. It's just a shipwreck treasure. It's the most obscure museum. Told the BBC that the model will be safely stored until it is put on display. She said, quote, the model is going to be stored away safely for a few months. Oh, they're just putting it in a box for a few months. And we are going to be getting ready for March 2024 when we are going to open the brand new exhibition. I can see this South African mercenary almost dying. He's bleeding from the face. He's shell-shocked. His ears are blown out. He can barely hear. He's limping up to the Shipwreck Treasure Museum. This lady comes out. Lynn Rubenheimer, she's like, oh my gosh, you did it. He walks up, hands her the boat, and she just turns around and puts it in a closet. She's like, oh, yeah, actually, we didn't need it for a couple more months. We'll use this later. Thank you, though. Quote, it is going to be centered around a comparison between the endurance that Shackleton and his men had to be able to survive 2 years on the ice and the endurance that our volunteers had to be able to retrieve it, as well as the endurance of the Ukrainian people. Wow, they are really reaching for straws.
Really
the
reaching.
Ship, that is not a good comparison to make. The ship sunk. Ernest Shackleton's men had to eat each other to survive. This is not what you want to be comparing the Ukraine war to. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I have nothing to add to that. That speaks for itself.
Yeah. There was one more thing, but per usual, it just kind of leaves my brain when I'm trying to remember. Yeah, but yeah, fun, good times. I recall now. It was a metaphor as a weapon. This is a metaphor as a weapon because there's nothing to this. There's no connection between Ukraine and Shackleton and the endurance other than a metaphor to say, oh, it's tough for us. It was tough for Shackleton.
Yeah. And it's endurance, the endurance of the Ukrainian people, the endurance of the South African mercenary. Yeah. And please don't think about it too much, and please no one make any other connections between the failed sunken ship in Antarctica and the Ukraine war. We are not inviting any more comparisons. I have written you this media release, and that is where we are staying.
I am interested in what we will find 100 years from now, some artifact that will expose some realities about the Ukraine war. Maybe Zelensky's pet baby HOAXICAN alien. He's got his little own alien, cake alien.
If you think about it, the Mexican aliens were just models of the aliens, Sure, they made the model out of human bones and animal skins, but it was still a model. Was it a Ukrainian rocket scientist building it in a war zone? Probably not. Was it probably some cartel member with some extra bones laying around wanting to embarrass the Mexican government? Probably. But don't make any more comparisons, okay?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But before that, I want to real quickly run through some more people to thank, starting with the Clippies.
Thanks.
Go follow the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey, and thank you to the Clippies for your help, past, present, and future. And it's only possible because of the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Yeah, timestampers, they timestamp the show oftentimes live, and it goes into so much of our back-end processes. Thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 666. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Child of God, One Lousy Petunia, Trevor, and Jules for sending in articles at canarycry.report. Thank you to Clank for everything you're clanking around with. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your friends' families, dog plant. And share the show. Word of mouth is a great way to do it. You can post it on your social media or whatever, or you could get a little bit more, little bit more creative with it. You know, lots of ways to show the gifts and talents that the Lord has given you. And if you are a talented taxidermist, go ahead and collect all the human bones that you can find, collect all the animal skins, collect all the cake. And what you're going to do is you're going to put those skills to use, creating a lifelike, visionary model, if you will, of this podcast. I don't know how you'll do it, but you got to do something with those extra bones. What are you going to do? Just let them sit in the shoebox right next to the ship that you saved from the Ukrainian hot zone? No. Gather up your thread, your needle, your femurs, your tibias, your llama butts, all the good stuff, and go ahead and put together an extraordinarily convincing cake in the shape of this podcast and wheel it onto government television in some some rogue Southern American nation, and the whole world will tune in, and instead of laughing and mocking the poor display of alien taxidermy, they will be stunned that finally the truth has been disclosed. The governments of the world can hide it no longer, and the world is forever changed by the evidence right in front of their faces that Canary Cry News Talk is the best podcast in the metaverse. That's just one way to do it. You don't have to do it that way, but we do call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Don't fall for subjective relativism.
Yeah. It's like the wind. It's ephemeral. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this. Oh, you know what? I just pulled up our rankings, and we're finally bouncing back.
All right.
Say that we're finally bouncing back. And just a reminder, if y'all wouldn't mind, please go leave us a rating and a review at Apple Podcasts. That would help us out a lot. And other than that, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time, but until then, think outside the cage. It will kill.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
I love the Great Reset.
We will hunt you down and make you pay. Anytime. Keep yapping, man. Get vaccinated.
They've been creating animal-human hybrids for decades. The canary in the coal mine. This is the way.
We're all gonna die.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
news of the day gets to feeling like a maze. It's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry waits. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry waits. Canary, cry waits. Oh, canary, cry waits. Oh, the world's changing every day, each and every way you turn. There's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives. And nice to see His glory shining like the sun. Run the race until it's done. Come on, everyone. Canary, cry waits. Oh, canary, cry waits. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry, Dexerto.